Oh, great. So we've got a hi from Fredericton hitting live. That's fantastic. And so far we have 17 people and we are on YouTube, which is wonderful. So we'll just wait for some more people to join us and then we'll begin. And it's great to be here. Hello from Althea in Kingston, Ontario. Welcome. Tracy from Kingston. So we'll do our best to read the chat as it comes in. When we get into the presentation, then we'll definitely be checking back in. From Brantford, Ontario, welcome. And Rita, can you see the chat okay as well?
Yes, I can see the chat fine.
That's great. And Debbie from Brampton, Ontario, welcome. And Cambridge, Ontario. It's great to have the opportunity across Canada and beyond potentially. Welcome here. So we'll probably wait just about 2 more minutes and then get started, I think. Or Erin or Rita, you can tell me otherwise. Richmond, British Columbia.
People might have problems getting into the
True.
Zoom.
We don't want to rush that. Yeah. Welcome from Richmond, British Columbia, Roberta. Yeah, we definitely won't want to rush, let people get in. So it's the sitting and waiting that we can be chatting a little bit before the intros, so nobody misses anything. You're good to start. Hello from Guelph. Great. So I guess we'll jump in. So Rita, you can take it away.
Okay, let's start then. I'll start. My name is Rita Kopp. I am the chair of the Master of Education in Adult Education program. I have a history in this institution. I used to be the dean of the faculty, but as I'm getting older, I'm trying to lose some of my responsibilities. But I still have contact with lots of students and alumni. So one of them is Patricia here, who is a learning experience designer and founder of Regier Educational Services. And well, she was one of my students and I supported her in the capstone. I can say lots of things about her, but I think it's better to hand it over to her as she can introduce herself much better than I can. So she will do a presentation and you can ask questions or include questions in the chat room, and depending on the flow of this session, we will ask the questions there and then, or we will wait till she has finished her presentation and then have some time for that. We hope for it to be around an hour session, just so you have an idea of the time. And I would like to hand over to Patricia now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita. It was such a pleasure to work with you, Dr. Kopp, when I was a student, and to work on the capstone project with you as well. And thank you for that warm welcome. Thank you to everyone that is joining us today, whether you're watching this live in Zoom or on the live stream in YouTube, or if you're going to watch the recording later. Welcome here. And thank you for that introduction. My name is Patricia Regier, as Rita said, from Regier Educational Services. I'm going to share my screen here, and I'm going to be sharing a PowerPoint presentation, but I definitely want you to be able to see both myself and the slide deck. So if you have the opportunity to change and adjust your view up at the top, you can pick side by side, and that's always a great view. And I'm also going to make sure that even though Rita's going to be taking a look at our chat box, I'm going to make sure that I have that open as well. So thank you and welcome. And hopefully you're able to set up that viewing side by side. And for our Yorkville University Master of Education with Adult Education program presentation, you're welcome to take screenshots and share them on social media. If you could please tag me on Instagram and Twitter, I am at Leader Inspired, or you can find me on YouTube, Patricia Regier, and all the different platforms as well. So a warm welcome. I'm thrilled that you're all joining us today. We are going to talk a little bit, I'm going to share about my journey from Master of Adult Education to entrepreneur and what that looked like fairly quickly. And then talk a little bit about participant engagement and demonstrate that through this presentation, learning experience opportunity as well. I'll touch on and practice what I talk about and do, and leave room for context of pivots, some real honest thoughts, and completely welcome your questions too. So what I'm going to ask you to do right now, because I really do like to include engagement. So even though we're on Zoom webinar platform, I want you on the screen to be pointing at what you see and pick any square, but not the middle, getting work done. So not the middle, but pick any other square that you're going to start with and point to. And then I want you to move vertically up or down to the first square with no star. So you do that. Then I want you to move horizontally, which is left or right, to the first star with a star. Then I want you to move diagonally to the first star, or first square with no star. So diagonally to the first square with no star. And then you're going to move vertically again, up or down to the first square with a star. I'm going to ask you to type in the chat box where you ended up. What did that square say? As well. And I'm going to see if I can see the chat box too. Okay, so you're welcome to type that as well. And now, if this works correctly, if I'm speaking slow enough, and what would be ideal is if you visually saw the instructions in front of you. That's the tricky thing online. We try to do the best, but for most of you, you did get the, make sure this comes up, great learning experiences. And that's what we want, no matter what we're doing, online or in person, but certainly right now, the majority of what we're doing. And thank you for typing in the chat box. So that is an example of an icebreaker. It is possible to do that online, and you'll hear more about what I do as well. So as all of you, I went back to school, I guess it was around 5 or 4 years ago. I graduated in 2015 with a Master of Adult Education, and here's my grad photo with Dr. Kopp. And this is just a quote: "Be fearless in the pursuit of what sets your soul on fire." So like all of you, taking that giant step of courage to get to go back to school online. So I have completed that as well, and that journey. And then I continued working full-time, going to school full-time for the years to get my Master of Adult Education, and then stayed in my director position for a couple years before I decided to leave that opportunity and And normally I wouldn't leave a job before having another job lined up. So that was a huge leap of courage for me but it was time and I was ready for the next chapter in my life. So then I went solo backpacking and traveling for the first time in Europe, for the first time backpacking, solo trip, staying in hostels for 3 weeks. It was an incredible way to change chapters in my life and to get ready for what was next, because I wasn't sure. Was I going to come back and keep looking for jobs? So it was just a fantastic way I had been working in nonprofit for 20 years to get ready for what was next. And there's so many stories. It was quite an adventure. So that was just a little clip of video creation. And when I came back, my husband and I and my daughters, we talked about what was next. Was I going to keep looking for a different job? I went back to school to do something more and decided to start my own business, Regier Educational Services. So some of what I talk about are principles of working and leading online or learning online, that everyone feels supported and connected, that we build community. And you experience this here at Yorkville because it was my prime example of what online learning could be like, and facilitate motivation. So whether we're working with clients or employees, team members, and I share about tips for success on learning platforms using multimedia, starting with great equipment if that's an option, and for a mic or a camera, but people can start and use what they have. So I give information about that. I talk about the communication online is different and what is needed for really engaging our audience. Even just having an energy level, not talking in monotone, and especially on camera and online, that's an important element as well. And when I'm creating videos, whether it's for my YouTube channel or online courses or a replay for a presentation like this, I'm considering too what is needed for that recording or that viewer experience too. So I like to do things live. And okay, that's good to know that you're getting to see my notes. And I will be honest, this is the first time. Here we go. Does that make a difference? Do you now see just the full slide? And I will see about, if I can grab the chat as well. So this is just like when I'm learning and doing things, and I encourage people to go out there and try new things. This is the first time I'm doing a presentation with 2 monitors, and learning, no matter how much prep you do, when you're doing it the first time, you don't know exactly how it's going to turn out. And the beauty of what I do is I like to share what I'm learning and encourage people to stretch their comfort zones in that way. So if you want to, I'm not now seeing the chat, so you can definitely unmute Rita anytime and pipe in, or Aaron, to let me know, but hopefully you're seeing the full slide at this point, because that's a better viewing experience. So this is what I do, and online it's very different too, that you get to see, usually when we have a presentation, and I like to use Zoom meeting as the platform, because then I can see everybody, and there's different interactive elements like breakout rooms and things like that. I know Zoom webinar has that too, but it's online. Eye contact is different. So if we are seeing everybody in our Zoom platform, sometimes we're checking our hair, if I see myself, or you're seeing, when you're looking at people in person, we make eye contact, we check out the body language. That's part of communication. Online, our eye contact online is looking directly at the camera, especially for that viewer experience or that replay recording. And so it's tips and information like that that I help people with as well. I share about different platforms like Zoom or PowerPoint or Canva, the tools to create the learning experiences and resources as well. So I'm going to share a poll too, actually. We'll go back to this and I'm going to share a poll for you to answer what helps you stay engaged online. And it's multiple choice, so you can, perfect, it's full slide. I can see the chat now. This is good. And thank you. So you can pick more than one answer and let me know what you prefer when you're learning online, what helps you stay engaged. And what I'm going to do too is I will end the polling in a moment and share those results so you can see them. One thing to note for anyone that's using Zoom as a platform for the recording, it doesn't record the poll. Even if when you're showing it to all the viewers, it doesn't capture that in the recording. So what I do, you can take a screenshot when I share it, or sometimes just taking a picture as well. So I'm going to about 81% of you have voted right now, about 18 out of the 22, and I'm going to end the polling and share what the results are. I'm going to read those out loud so that you can also hear about them and it can stay in the recording too. So I'll end the polling right away, but right now we are looking at breakout rooms. A lot of people, 28% like those. Chat box, 72%. A lot of you really enjoy that option. Polls, 22%. Visuals and videos you like, 83%. Stories and examples, 56%. Large group discussion, 17%. Fun activities, 44% of you, and extra resources and downloads and options, 39%. So I'm going to end the polling and I'm going to share the results so you can visually see that as well. So, and then I'll stop the results in a moment and move on. But it's great to have options like this. And as facilitators, it's different in person. If that's what we do, a lot of times there's that interaction. And when we're on certain platforms, especially the webinar setup, we can't always directly interact. So we have to be very intentional on setting up these opportunities. So I'm going to stop share results and cross those out as well, and we'll move on to. So thank you for participating in that. You are still welcome to put questions in the chat box as we go along, and we'll have opportunity at the end as well. And we will continue here. So whether you yourself, you are all coming from different workplace situations and contexts, when you're going to school, if you are working or if you're not working, and whether we're reaching out to family, friends, our community, or if we have clients, our participants in learning activities, our learners and students, and supporting and motivating employees, there's a variety of ways we can do that online. So, and those can be little learning experiences. This little video in the corner, I made that through Canva. So you can have challenges, draws, activities. There's different social media options, going on lives. IGTV is Instagram TV, and sharing good news messages, sharing stories, and getting creative, trying new multimedia ways. I do a lot of instructional videos, step-by-step guides through screen recordings. You can use hashtag cat coworker, have fun. And I always make sure if I am taking a picture on my desk that everything's blurred out if I'm working on things. Another topic that I share about through my business and through the work that I do is about bite-sized learning. So there was Disrupt HR presentation that I gave not that long ago using the acronym BITE, which is best content, interesting visuals, timely access for whoever you're trying to share information along the way, and engaging experience. So using variety is a lot of what I talk about, and it does increase that knowledge retention as well when we are getting bite-sized, smaller chunks of information and what we're learning as well. And a lot of what I talk about too, and that I really promote, is creating engaging experiences so they're not boring. Whether it's a meeting, a presentation, even health and safety can be made engaging, or a policy option. So adding variety to reach and engage a variety of participants, to inspire, to teach, and as you all know, Howard Gardner's multiple intelligences, I've created a quiz. I asked Howard Gardner, so it's not an endorsed, but I want to communicate and go beyond the referencing and make sure that this quiz I created is to help people understand what lights them up, to make it very accessible, because not everybody has gone back to school for a Master of Education. And this quiz is to help inform and learn. So all the tools and resources at the end are in the style that people prefer to learn, to just stretch to, because often as facilitators and instructors, we get used to the way maybe we like to receive information, or the way we always do it. So I always encourage people to add a little bit of something else. So when people join my email list, they get this resource. It's a 2-page engagement and tech ideas and tips, and lots of resources, whether it's on my website or in YouTube videos, to help people really learn and stretch what they're doing. This quote too, because definitely this path, this journey between getting my master's to then leaving a job and starting a business, not everything worked out perfectly. It's been, there was a lot of great advice. I went to small business, starting business information, and it's a journey. So I like this quote by Joanne Hamilton Vale too, that she's equally inspired by those who come in last place because they keep pushing. So being an entrepreneur, it's a long-term situation between getting revenue right off the start to pay for the business before it becomes an income. So there's risk, there's a lot of courage and tenacity for building a business. And the journey for me to find out what was going to be my niche took me a little bit longer to what I needed to settle in and discover. So my challenge to you is to try something new when you're learning. I mean, definitely, we're all learners, or lifelong learners, going back to school and building a business. I've been constantly learning. I remember when I've been speaking and creating training materials for 20 years and speaking in front of people. That was no problem. Hundreds, 1,000 people, no problem. But when I first started going on camera, that I was awkward. And I think part of the learning and the growth is while we're doing it. Sometimes we can't practice enough. It has to be while we're doing it that we truly grow. So my challenge to you is to definitely try something new.